Good morning. It's Wednesday, December 31st, 2014, the last time I will say that into this microphone. This is Tech Talk Today, episode 111. My name is Chris.
Well, okay. Every day it's the last time you'll say that. Into the
No,
microphone,
2014.
Technically. Well, you didn't say this year.
Wow.
But every day is a unique episode number and date. So
Every
it's
day's a
technically
snowflake?
the last time. What?
Listen, here's what I'm saying. This is the last time I'm going to say 2014. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
This is the last time, because every episode I do, every freaking day, I say the date, and I always say 2014.
You know what? You're giving yourself too much credit there. You're totally going to say 2014.
You're right. I'm totally going to say it again. I should start. Well,
this is the last time you'll be accurate.
Over the weekend, I'll have to start practicing 2015. I'll have to get a cadence for it that I like a lot. And then I'll be like so happy with my cadence that I use it all the time. And you know who will call me on it every time I make a mistake? That's our Mumble Room. Time appropriate greetings, Mumble Room.
I was sitting here face palming over that whole discussion.
I know. You know, that's what you get when you have your wife on your show with you. She'll just throw you a curveball. She'll just call you on something right there.
You mean she'll know you so well that she'll predict the future?
Wow. Well, she's right about that, too. Well, I guess we could have predicted the future on our first story here. So we talked about Lizard Squad yesterday, and everybody was glazed over, rolling their eyes, didn't give a crap what Chris had to say. But here we go. Guess what? More stuff about Lizard Squad. The story continues. The narrative gets even better. So you probably heard of them. They were the ones involved with the Xbox Live and PlayStation Network denial of service attacks, because denial of service attacks are such a big deal. And they do suck, right? I mean, denial of service attacks, no doubt about it. They're not a nice thing to have, but they're now just full-fledged considered hacking, apparently. Well, it turns out, if you've been following Lizard Squad on Twitter, which I'm sure you do, you saw that the user that goes by the alias Dragon has been bragging about the Lizard Squad's new service that they're very proud of. It's dubbed Lizard Stressor. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You can now go get your own very DDoS service on demand. This is a cloud DDoS service that you can take advantage of. Once customers
always wanted one of those.
I know, right? Well, somebody just pisses you off, and now you just go buy a little cloud time here on the Lizard Stressor. This is just great. So when you log in, you get a list of the group's accomplishments, kind of bragging about stuff. But here's how it works. Here's the brass taxes. You know what do you always say, Ange, on this show? What's something that you've said since like the first episode that you were on this show?
Put your pants back on.
No, you always say.
Show me the money!
Oh wait, no, that's Chase.
No, that wasn't Chase.
That was
an absolute.
All right, yeah, that's Chase. All right, so here's the cost of the attacks. They range anywhere from $6, like the cost of a ting line. That's crazy. To 500, and you got to pay for all of it with Bitcoin. And if you're watching the video version,
it's got to be anonymous.
I'm showing you the visuals of what the Lizard Stressor interface looks like. There you go. The most expensive tier offers 30,000 seconds of attack. It's about 20 days, I guess, and costs $130 per month. So $130 per month.
What the heck?
And for 500 bones, customers can launch unlimited. You get the unlimited plan. Unlimited tax. Yeah.
I gotta say, this is kind of brilliant. It's capitalizing on people's disdain for something.
Right, and it's also capitalizing on all of the hype around the Sony breach, the PlayStation DDoS. I mean, everybody's talking about Lizard Squad in the headlines right now because they just did the holiday DDoS, and so it's like while the iron's hot, they're striking right now. And what's interesting, they say, is this is their last hurrah. In fact, I grabbed a quote here from somewhere from them, but they say that after this is done, they're going to crawl back into the caves in which they came from, was the quote.
This is crazy. Like, if they have like the bragging list that you were talking about, can't that just be accessed by police?
Yeah, these screenshots came from the Daily Dot, who've been talking with somebody at Lizard Squad. Sources also tell the Daily Dot that one member of Lizard Squad, Ryan C., that's the one we talked about yesterday, is also, the Daily Dot's confirming the FBI is looking into him. This whole article is a little weak, in my opinion. It smacks of buying into hype and potentially buying into something that is not even really a fully baked product. And it also smacks of a group of people that got together in IRC and decided to capitalize on a moment. That said, it doesn't seem impossible, right? You fund it with bitcoins, you orchestrate a botnet somehow, or whatever you're doing. Maybe it's you're taking advantage of vulnerabilities in NTP. I don't know what you're using to do this kind of attack, but you figure out that system, and then it's just a matter of figuring out a way to put a UI on top of it. It doesn't seem inconceivable to me. It seems a little rich.
I'm not a fan.
It's really neat and tidy. You know, it's really all got a bow on it right now, but it seems possible to me. Mumble Room, any thoughts?
It's definitely possible, but at the same time, it's like it's just buying into, or it's getting people to buy into something that is actually illegal.
Yeah, for sure.
And has no benefit. I mean, no.
And has no benefit. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, because we've been subject to DDoSes in the past, and we end up, you know, paying a ridiculous amount a month to have, you know, that not, well, to have it avoided somewhat with the static IP.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's definitely not a great thing, and it also seems like a cheap shot. It seems like sort of a lazy thing to do, because it's really not all that lead to be able to DDoS somebody, especially when you can now do things like this. I'll watch it with more interest and continue to read up on it, and I just read this last night, so as my opinion begins to form, I'll share it with you guys. And that's the advantage of a daily show. Let's talk a little bit about some of the surprises we got from Der Spiegel over the holiday week that really have gotten no notice for the most part. Ars Technica has been doing a pretty good job of picking it up, though. And it's really more nuts and bolts about how the NSA works. It's been a series of stuff. Some came from a Freedom of Information request by the UCLA, I believe. Some of it came from the existing Edward Snowden leaks that the Der Spiegel paper in Germany is going through. And so that's where we're going to start here. One of them is the NSA has really mastered VPNs and cracking VPNs and has been able to crack VPNs for a really long time. And the best part, well, maybe not, is they use a little Star Trek lingo. Yeah, the National Security Agency's Office of Target Pursuit maintains, that's OTP for short for you hipsters, maintains a team of engineers dedicated to cracking the encrypted traffic of virtual private networks and has deployed tools that could potentially unlock the traffic in the majority of VPNs used to secure traffic passing over the internet today. That's according to docs published by Der Spiegel. A slide deck from the presentation by a member of OTP's VPN exploitation team, dated December 13, 2010, so that's how long they've had this capability, details the process that the NSA used at the time to attack VPNs, including tools with names drawn from Star Trek. Like the IPsec VPN, when they do that, when they are tasked to identify that by NSA analysts, and they do a full take of all the metadata, like the protocol that they can kind of suss out what the endpoints are, that's called the Vulcan Death Grip. And they keep that in a VPN data repository. There are similar separate repositories for PPTP, SSL VPN. Those are dubbed Fourscore and Vulcan MindMeld. So it kind of depends. They have a different. So Vulcan Death Grip is specifically for IPsec. Vulcan MindMeld is for Fourscore, is for SSL VPN, and Fourscore is for PPTP. Boy, that's complicated, but it's all out there in the show notes if you're curious.
Wow.
The NSA has a specific repository for capturing VPN metadata called Toy Grippy. You think that's what that is there, Andrew? Or Gripey? I think it's Grippy. The repository stores information on VPN sessions between systems of interest, including fingerprints, so they can go back and look at them later and call them up in the X-Keyscore system. All right, so that's one bit of information, number one. I'm going to roll these two stories together so we can just keep moving. Number two, new documents published show that the NSA can now grab all Skype traffic. The nature of Skype data it collected was spelled out in a document dated August 2012 entitled...
Is that before or after Microsoft bought it?
After. Entitled User's Guide for Prism Skype Collection. The document details how to task, that's the operative word there, the capture of voice communications from Skype using the NSA's Nucleon system, which allows for text searches against captured voice communications. So they're doing translations of your voice calls to text and then searching on that.
Wow.
Discuss if they needed to, then probably not yours. It also discusses how to find text chats and other data sent between clients. And don't worry, those of you thinking about that peer-to-peer nature, well, as of February 2011, it was July 2011, the NSA added the capability of capturing peer-to-peer Skype communications. They get that too. And also, they gain the ability to capture peer-to-peer traffic and decrypt it. So if it's encrypted, they have keys provided by Microsoft through a warrant request. So they have keys to the encrypted Skype traffic by Microsoft.
What the heck?
Yeah. They also capture all Skype out and Skype in calls over the phone line.
Wait, so every call on Skype is recorded, translated to text?
Well, so the way it works fully is there is a full take system that takes in all internet traffic for the last 3 days. It analyzes that, and then based on selectors that they have, they save large portions of it for analysis later on. They don't necessarily process it all in real time, from my understanding, but I don't really know.
Well, it'd be hard to because it
well, they do a 3-day take. They analyze that.
Yeah.
They save certain things. They have this system called X key score where they can go in and put different selectors. Like they could say Angela Fisher, or they can put different things in, and anything that they've identified that's you, they've labeled in their system as traffic from Angela Fisher, and then they could just go pull up all Angela Fisher Skype calls.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty sophisticated system.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of it's too bad they can't be more open about it, because I bet the technology behind it is really breakthrough.
Yeah.
In a creepy way.
Thoughts on that story, Mumble Room?
Were there any VPN protocols which are excluded from the Vulcan death grip?
Yeah, the R's actually, thank you for asking. In fact, it's worth reading the entire R's article, because I'm really just trying to bring out the most important bits. There are, specifically they talk about technologies that work better than others, and you're not going to be surprised to find that it's the open source stuff, and it's the most up-to-date open source stuff. They also talked about how TrueCrypt was even a bit of a challenge for them, and they had certain types of encryption they say could not decrypt, hold for later attempts, and things like that. But for the most part, it from this Ars Technica article, the big takeaway I had was if you're using PPTP, you're double screwed. If you're using IPsec, you're probably okay if it's a really popular one and it's up to date. But if they really wanted to crack it, they literally have a team that's dedicated to just cracking a single VPN if they have to.
Jeez.
Kind of makes me wonder what happens if you just pipe stuff through SSH, if that would be helpful.
Oh, you know what? Another good one. SSH was one that they listed as hard or extremely hard to crack. So,
yeah, that's great. I love SSH for that very reason.
Yeah. All right, Andrews, are you ready to pick it up and have our Kickstarter of the week?
Yep.
This one I picked, it's, okay, let's be honest, it's New Year's week. Nobody's really going to try to launch the next big potato salad on Kickstarter this week.
Yeah.
But you are an iPhone user, happily so. You got iOS 8. And one of the big things in iOS 8 that you have never taken advantage of is the third-party keyboard feature.
I have the emojis.
Yeah, that's Apple's. You can replace Apple's keyboard altogether. But you've never been. I don't think a lot of iOS users really think about this. This is something Android users have been doing for a long time. Well, this Kickstarter project, it's going on right now. It's got 24 days to go. 3,654 backers. 43 grand Canadian out of a goal of 10,000. Way above their goal.
Okay.
And this has also now been featured as a Kickstarter staff pick. It's called Next Keyboard, the perfect keyboard for the iPhone. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is the perfect keyboard for the iPhone if it wouldn't eventually also come over to Android. It'd be probably pretty easy to do. I want to play it for you, Ange, just so you can get an idea of what you could do with a third-party keyboard. And I want to see if it's something you'd ever consider backing. Because it's essentially, at the end of the day, in a way, it's an app.
iPhone, we need to talk.
About our trip to Paris? The population of Paris?
It's about your keyboard.
What's wrong with my keyboard?
Well, you know what? I think it could be better. A lot better.
Boo? Who?
No. Don't be upset. I'm going to help you.
How?
First, I get super annoyed if I can't tell if I'm on upper or lower case. So let's make the shift button way clear. Shift on, shift off. Upper, lower. Next, I need a quicker way to edit. So give me more control over the cursor. How about like this?
He's scrubbing with the spacebar.
Next, I want easier access to my emojis because why type when I can express exactly how I feel with an icon of a poop? Let's put the emojis right here so they're one tap away and then list them all here with a simple scroll. And I want you to suggest the emoji that best matches what I'm trying to say. For example, I feel like
Poop?
You got it. Now let's talk autocorrect. I love it when you work, but last week I was trying to tell my mom I was shopping and you said I was pregnant.
Sorry.
Also, I want to type quicker with one hand, so give me swiping. That way I can type while sipping my triple venti latte. And this whole gray and black vibe you got going on, give me some color, but that personality shine. And we're getting more feedback from iPhone users every day. If you have any comments or ideas, please let us know, either on this site or on Twitter at Next Keyboard.
And who is us exactly?
By us, I mean the team at Tiny Hearts. We're a group of developers and designers committed to making awesome products that improve people's lives in small yet meaningful ways. Our apps have been downloaded by millions of people and featured in Wired magazine, the New York Times, and even an Apple commercial.
Cool.
And now we're on a mission to make people fall in love with their keyboards by making...
So what do you think, Ange? It's called the Next Keyboard. Does it change your mind about what a keyboard should be on your phone?
Right. It's cool that it can be modified like that.
Yeah.
That definitely seems like...
Does it make you
good
wish the
features.
iOS built-in keyboard was a little nicer? Like when it hits
yeah.
the shift button, it goes uppercase,
Yeah.
lowercase. Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
nice? Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you consider backing
Well,
something like this?
And I hate it when autocorrect corrects something to a proper noun.
Yeah.
So it capitalizes the first letter. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I was typing and.
Yeah.
And then I backspace and then I go to type and the A stays capitalized. It's like, you're the one that suggested a capital letter there, not me. You know, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I do know. It's very frustrating. So here's the pricing. And Mumble, what do you guys think as we look at this? Could you kind of grok what it was over the audio? Does it seem like a nice keyboard to you?
I'm looking at that right now.
Yeah, it's called Next Keyboard, and you know what? I could put a link in the chat room too if that would help, so you guys can take a look at it. We can take a look at the pricing, and that might help too. And chat room, feel free to let me know what you think. So
it just reminds me of a lot of the Android keyboards that are out there. So it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I think
know.
iPhone could definitely use that, but at the same time,
If you're not an
I
iPhone
mean,
user, right? But see, that's
Yeah, if
why
you're not an iPhone
I
user.
I submit it to Ange.
So this is a Kickstarter for an app?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it's a keyboard you buy in the App Store, or maybe you get it for free because you backed it here, and then yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So would you back something like this? I'm not really, I'm not really asking most people because I don't think they're probably iOS users in the moment. But I'm kind of asking. I'm curious because I look at something like this and I think this is functionality that it seems like if this was really popular, Apple would probably eventually just copy it or buy it out. But
yeah.
I like I think it's interesting that somebody can come in and make a product like this and raise $43,000 for what is essentially.
Canadian.
Yeah, I know it's funny money, I know, but it's but still it's $43,000. I'm sorry, Canadian funny money, and it's for a keyboard. It's amazing. That's a lot of money for a keyboard. It's $43,000 to write a keyboard.
Canadian.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, it's all because of mathematicians, because there's a lot of math that's going into keyboards now, especially on phones. So it makes development expensive. So yeah, I guess 43,000 is something that they could still use.
Yeah, well, what I think it is I think it shows that we are still not satisfied with our input on our smartphones. And I think that shows there's 43,000 funny money in pain about it. Mm-hmm. Like I think that's.
Well, I am, but I use a keyboard. I backed up another. I believe it was Indiegogo campaign, so I used the Medium keyboard since it was in beta.
Yeah,
and it does something very different. So it requires to, get used to it over a couple of days. But I'm actually very satisfied with how it works. It's called Minuum, Minuum, and it works on both iPhone and Android.
Nice.
Oh, interesting.
Check it out.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Rikai did the math for us, didn't he?
Yeah, $37,388.34 normal currency.
Normal. You mean the world reserve currency?
Non-funny money.
World reserve currency. Yeah.
USD.
U.S. greenback, Yankee dollars.
You know, Alan's gonna get on this.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. He can have a leg to stand on when Canada has a reserve currency. I'm gonna just ride on that until America blows it. All right. Hey, so speaking of something else that is way, way, way awesome. Women's Tech Radio episode 7 came out last night, and it's a great episode.
Yep.
I'm a little partial because I got to listen to it a few times, but I feel like it goes by like that, even though I've listened to it 3 times. And so Women's Tech Radio episode 7, go check it out. It features, how did you say it's Kaylin? Gibaltera. Wow, that's a hard one. She talks about hackathons, which is kind of a really up and coming. There's like a lot of hackathons going on these days, and she's a hackathon addict. She's also involved in the GEMS Challenge. And she's a developer at Capital One. And Ange and Paige are talking to her, and they're like, so why did you get into technology and then go into banking? And her answer was, it's great because she talks about, well, first I start in the weapons industry, which is like, wow, really? So she tells you a little bit about that. And then she's like, but then I decided I wanted to move into an area that doesn't move very fast, but wanted to be in the private industry. And she talks about why that is and why she likes working on something that's uncomfortable to people, and that's money. So that's Women's Tech Radio episode 7. Just went out last night.
Yep.
Or I guess early this morning, probably. Hey, you know what else? Tech Talk Today has a Patreon page that you can be a part of. Actually, it's the whole network. We thank you by having the Tech Talk Today show And we posted up at patreon.com/today. So it all kind of ties together. But the funds raised there go towards all the shows, and including some nice upgrades that went into the studio that were just needed to be done. Like now we can send a program feed, what you see in the recording, we can now send that back to Skype guests.
Yep, which is really helpful.
Yeah, we've never been able to do that just because it required some extra equipment and complexity.
And time.
Yeah.
Which we did last week.
Yep. And it's thanks to having that Patreon funding that now we can kind of budget predict that kind of stuff, and we can do something that is going to help. It's going to help Mike on Coda Radio. It's going to help Alan on TechSnap. It's going to help all of our guests that call in over Skype that are on like LAS. And it also, of course, it works under anything that takes a video in. So it would be Hangouts too. It's not just Skype. Mm-hmm. And it's that kind of stuff that helps raise all the shows that this funding helps do. Patreon.com/today. And we're posting stuff there from time to time just for our patrons, too, kind of behind-the-scenes videos. And once you become a patron, you get access to all of that goodness.
Yep.
Thank you to everybody. And I hope 2015, I hope it's going to be a really big year. The kind of flexibility and freedom and ability to kind of innovate a little bit behind the scenes and create stuff for you guys is only going to grow as that Patreon page grows. So I hope 2015 is a great year for that. Patreon.com/today. And a reminder, too, JupiterBroadcasting.com/calendar. No Tech Talk today, tomorrow, because it's New Year's Day. And TechSnap is pre-recorded, and it will be out, but it will not be live.
So I'll be updating the calendar so that Tech Talk today isn't on there tomorrow.
Oh, I did it earlier. Let me see. Let me refresh. Sometimes it just takes a little bit to... Let's see.
There we go.
Yeah,
Good job. Okay, so it's off the calendar.
Yeah, because I knew I was going to show it on the air, but I guess sometimes it just caches.
Yeah.
We go to JupiterBroadcasting.com/calendar to keep up to date on that. Also, I guess since this is my last chance to plug anything, we have a really, really huge Linux Action Show planned for Sunday. You may be familiar with Greg KH or Greg Hartman. He is a Linux kernel developer. He's been around for a really long time. And he goes around by most on the web as Greg KH. He'll be joining us on Sunday to talk about kernel development in Linux and pretty much any other Linux-related topic. There is currently a very empty thread going on in the Linux Action Show subreddit. Nobody's really asking their questions. So if you have a question for a famous Linux kernel developer, you can ask it in that thread in the Linux Action Show subreddit, linuxactionshow.reddit.com. Should be a great chat, so I'd love to get some great questions in there. All right, Andrew, is anything else, any other business we need to take care of before we get out of here? Your last show of 2014. Any thoughts?
Faux Show comes back on Sunday.
Oh, really? I just deleted it off the calendar because I thought that wasn't the case.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I thought we needed one more Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah. You cool with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we could talk more, but yeah.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay. It'll come back soon.
Yeah. So I guess I was hoping Popey would be here because I've been saving a Bitcoin commercial for him. This is new, something that just came out. I think it's going to be an interesting year for Bitcoin over 2015, and so why don't we record this? I hopefully will looking back will be poignant, maybe not. Why don't we make our last commercial of 2014 a commercial about how average people, the mom and pop shops, can take Bitcoin. This is, to me, Bitcoin's like moment where they're trying to really just get to average consumers as a payment processor. It's being led by BitPay. If you look at this ad, the thing that's remarkable about it is it is so plain and normal, but yet it's about frickin' Bitcoin. So, anyways, have a great New Year's, everybody. See you on Sunday for a big Linux Action Show. Bye-bye.
Bitcoin gives me payment options my customers appreciate.
Bitcoin saves me time and money.
Bitcoin was made for online sales. Credit cards weren't designed for the internet.
I accept Bitcoin with BitPay.
I accept Bitcoin with BitPay.
I accept Bitcoin with BitPay.
Accept Bitcoin. Get started at bitpay.com.